You're born in the kingdom of Kush, present-day Sudan, in a dusty border hamlet where the houses are mud brick. You grow up barefoot with your toes always stained with dust, chasing other children through thorn bushes. You laugh easily. You sleep deeply. Music, you believe the world is small but safe. By the time you turn 5, you start to help your mother grind grain. You also help collect water from the Nile. And when no one's looking, you steal figs and get caught every single music time. On most days, your father is a farmer. Most of what you eat is produced on his farm. On other days, he's a soldier as the kingdom requires men to defend against Egypt. Your mother tends to the family livestock. She juggles it together with taking care of you and your siblings. She always tells you that goats are easier to control than children. You agree. Laughter. Here, life is simple. Poor, music, harsh, but you're happy. When you turn 10, you start following your mother to the market. There you see traders arrive. Tall men in fine linen with gold rings and lazy smiles. Laughter. Sometimes they look at you just a little too long. Your mother steps, screaming, in front of you like a shield. And when she tells your father, he growls like threatening the entire world. But soon you hear adults whispering words like raids, tributes, missing girls, and Egypt expanding. You pretend not to notice, but the air feels different now. Tense, watchful. You're 13 when Egypt finally arrives. Not with traders this time, with soldiers. The raid starts before sunrise. Screams jolt you awake. Smoke chokes the air and the world, music, that used to be safe suddenly feels too small to hide in. Your father tries to defend the village like all the other men, but spheres don't care about courage. They are all cut down. Laughter, your mother pushes you toward the back door, telling you to run, but the soldiers are already there. Laughter. Rope bites, music, into your wrist before you understand what's happening. Your friends vanish in the chaos. Your siblings, too. You're herded with the other girls, the pretty ones, the unlucky ones, and marched north for days. Feet blistered, throat dry, heart numb. Then the Nile welcomes you. You're shoved onto a river boat with crates of grain, pottery, incense. Except you're catalogued as a different kind of cargo. By the time Thieves rises on the horizon, you've learned 2 things. Crying is useless. And they like you better when you're silent. Once you arrive, the transformation begins. You're inspected like livestock, renamed without ceremony, measured, and clears throat, bought by a noble household. Laughter. Your childhood doesn't end with a rite of passage. It ends with a price tag. In this household, the first thing they take is your hair. Shaved clean. Not just for lice, but because it makes you easier to wash, easier to perfume, easier to present. Then your body becomes a daily project. Morning baths. And cool water. Scented oils rubbed into your skin until you shine like polished ivory. Unwinted massaged into your thighs, your arms, your belly, places you didn't know mattered. Coal drawn around your eyes with a precision that stings. Linen so transparent that you don't know why they bother calling it clothing. Older servants teach you everything you never wanted to know. How to walk without sound. How to kneel so your posture pleases the eye. How to lower your gaze at the exact respectful angle. How to endure wandering hands without recoiling. They call it grooming. They call it refinement. But everyone knows this is not a beauty school. It is obedience sculpted into flesh. And as you learn to move like a shadow, you also learn the hierarchy you now serve. The great wife at the top, secondary wives beneath her, concubines below them, decorative slaves. Congratulations, that's you. Servants and livestock, But none of that really matters because in the inner house there is only one rule worth remembering whispered by the older girls with dead eyes. You belong to anyone who calls for you. A week after entering Clear's Throat, the household, you and the other new girls are assembled in the courtyard. There the head servant inspects you. He doesn't speak. He just tilts your chin, studies your shoulders, looks at your hips. A silent appraisal. He approves of you and you're moved into the inner rooms, the scented, polished, quiet part of the household, music, where women glide instead of walk and smiles never reach their eyes. It smells like incense, music, and secrets. Your first night doesn't come from the master. It comes from a visitor, a merchant, important, wealthy. He's here. On business, Clear's Throat, dealing with the master. The head servant calls your name and you follow because not following is not an option. He treats you, music, like a convenience, like something the house provides, like wine or fruit. He doesn't speak Egyptian well, so he uses gestures. But even with gestures, you understand the command. Lie down. The act that follows is quick. It's clumsy. It hurts. After the act is done, he tells the head servant to give the master his thanks. You aren't acknowledged. The next morning, you're expected to serve breakfast as if nothing happened. You move like you're made of reeds bent too far. It continues. Visitors come and go. Dignitaries, soldiers, merchants. You become part of the hospitality. Prepare the room. Prepare the girl. You learn to breathe shallowly, to stare at the floor, to make your mind a blank, safe place to hide. Numbness becomes a skill as essential as kneeling. Panting. Then one night, the master calls for you. He says he's heard a lot about you. He inspects you with the same practiced detachment, but slower, as if savoring a meal. Laughter, that night stretches long, painful. Quiet. Laughter, that night reminds you that your music, his property. You're dismissed in the morning, but word spreads. After that day, you understand new rules. Music, the mistress hates you for existing. The concubines hate you for being new. The master prefers you for now. For almost a year, you're the master's favorite. Not cherished, just used more often than the others. Enough to make the mistress watch you like a curse waiting to happen. Then you miss your moon cycle. The midwives don't announce it out loud. They whisper. Then they make you do the barley wheat pregnancy test. They make you squat over bowls of barley and wheat, your urine soaking into the seeds like an offering. Then they plant them all together. If wheat sprouts, it's a girl. If barley sprouts, it's a boy. Days pass and the barley sprouts first. A boy. Everything changes overnight. Servants bow lower when you pass. Your meals improve. More bread, honey, figs. Your chores quietly disappear. The steward speaks to you with respect, as if you've already succeeded. You hear whispers that the master seeks male children. He says sons can shift alliances. That you might finally be useful. The mistress's hatred turns sharp and focused. You're watched constantly. Every step feels dangerous. You let yourself hope just a little because a boy means protection. A boy means status. A boy means your life might finally stop being miserable. Months pass and your due date nears. One morning you go into labor. The labor is long, screaming, painful. You scream into linen soaked with blood, oil, and prayers. Then you give birth. When the child is placed on your chest, its gender is obvious. A girl. Snorts, the room goes quiet. The midwives exchange looks. A servant takes the baby without ceremony. Crying. She'll probably make a good weaver. Laughter. Someone says, like they're assigning a task. The house resets. Food returns to normal. Bows from servants disappear. The master loses interest. He's already found something younger. You're allowed to nurse your daughter for a few months. Wet nurses, music, cost money. Then she's taken to the nursery. Crying. You watch her grow. She looks like a mini you. And that's not a good thing because you realize that you haven't broken the cycle. You've just given birth to it. And with that realization, dread settles in. 4 years pass and you're 20 now. In this place, that's long enough for faces to change, hierarchies to reshuffle, and children to be quietly sorted into futures they didn't choose. The mistress gave birth during those 4 years, a daughter as well. She was celebrated, swaddled in fine linen, given nurses, toys, protection. Laughter. Her future is safe by default. Other concubines give birth, laughter, to, mostly girls. Their fate depends on their mother's influence. Some are raised gently, some trained early, some barely acknowledged. But daughters of slaves remain slaves. No ceremony, no protection, just delayed usefulness. Your daughter grows. She is clever, loud when she thinks no one is listening. She smiles when she sees you, laughter. Clings to your linen, learns to walk by holding on to your fingers. Laughter, you love her fiercely, quietly. You teach her to stay close, to lower her eyes, to listen before she speaks. You try to delay the inevitable by teaching her how to disappear. Then the festival of Hathor arrives. Goddess of love, music, fertility, and motherhood. A holiday that celebrates joy by dissolving restraint. Laughter. Wine flows freely. Drums echo through the corridors. Servants are encouraged quietly to drink just enough to keep the mood light. You've already put your daughter to sleep. You linger by her mat longer than usual, brushing dust from her hair, thinking about what this festival means and what it never meant for you. So, you take some wine to join in the celebration in your way. Elsewhere, the master drinks far more. That's the point of Hathor's festival. Intoxication as devotion to lose yourself so the goddess might find you. You take a walk around the estate. You see it's deep in celebrations. Your walk takes you past a corridor. It's loud and chaotic. There you meet the master by chance. He smells of wine and incense. He doesn't speak, doesn't ask, doesn't even look like he recognizes you. He just reaches because you are close and available. The act is fast, confused, frightening, over before your thoughts can catch up. The next morning, the estate returns to order. The master remembers nothing. The festival laughter fades and you are invisible again. 2 months later, your body refuses to cooperate. Your moon cycle doesn't come again. And you understand with terrifying clarity that the goddess of motherhood has answered a prayer you never meant to make. When you realize what is happening, fear hits first, not hope. Because this time there's a problem no one can ignore. The master remembers the act. He just doesn't remember you. He laughs when the steward reports the pregnancy, waves it away as festival excess, drunken confusion. The mistress seizes on that hesitation immediately. Whispers bloom. Who touched you? Who dared? For a brief, terrifying window, your life balances on an accusation. But the estate solves it the only way it knows how, with silence. No servant admits anything. No guard confesses. No man is foolish enough to claim a woman who belongs to the master, even accidentally. And no servant claims to be the one that drunken night. So the whispers die, not because you're believed, but because no alternative explanation is survivable. Then the midwives perform the barley and wheat test again. Your urine is poured carefully over the seeds before they are planted. The barley sprouts again. Normally, this would mean gifts, favor, a shift in posture when people speak to you. But this time, nothing happens. The household remembers the last time. So, you are watched, not celebrated. Food stays plain. Chores remain. The mistress smiles thinly, waiting. The next few months are hard. The pregnancy is hard. You grow weak. You work through pain because stopping would look like presumption. Your daughter clings to you, sensing danger she doesn't understand. You teach her to be quiet and invisible. When labor comes in the 9th month, it is long and brutal. You think it will be your end. But when you think of the fate that awaits your daughter, you persevere. After 3 hours, the child finally, cries. This time unmistakably male. The house changes in a music. Single breath. Servants shout. Midwives bow. Wine is opened. The master comes this time. He stares at the infant, then at you as if seeing both for the first time. He already has sons. But sons are influence, marriages, priesthoods, governorships, alliances. And now one of them is yours. For the first time in your life, someone smiles at you without calculation. Your daughter brings you water. Your son sleeps against your chest. 2 children, 2 destinies, and the knowledge that their father will never treat them equally eats you up. Your son's childhood unfolds like a privilege you're allowed to witness but never share. Tutors arrive. Papyrus scrolls replace floor dust. By the time he is 3, he is already learning letters, numbers, hymns, names of gods who were never kind to you. Servants bow to him instinctively, and you learn the truth of your new status. You are important only because harming you would inconvenience him. Your food improves, your labor lightens, your voice is tolerated. But none of this extends to your daughter. She grows quietly, obediently, exactly the way the household likes girls to grow. Her hair is shaved. Her hands learn weaving, pouring, cleaning. She is praised for silence. You try to intervene, small things at first, keeping her near you, teaching her to avoid attention, begging midwives and servants to delay her training. They pity you. They do not listen because the system has already decided. One child is an investment, the other is inventory. And so you realize something awful. Then your son's protection is absolute. Your daughter's vulnerability is structural, and loving them equally becomes an act of defiance that costs you sleep. Years pass, and you're no longer the girl stolen from her village. You're 35 now. You become what all long surviving women in the estate become: a presence, a reminder, a ghost who knows too much to challenge. Your son is 15. Your daughter, meanwhile, becomes dangerous. Not to others, to herself. She's 20, quiet, beautiful, trained. Exactly the kind of girl the inner house notices. You've been able to delay her entry for more than 4 years now. You almost underestimated the number of people that want the mother of an heir in their debt. So, most stewards have no issue ignoring her name. But now, your son is rising. He moves through the household. With confidence now. Not arrogance but certainty. He speaks to scribes. He learns law. He is invited to places you cannot follow. But he also has detractors now. Some are his brothers. Others are from other merchant and noble houses. And they are looking for ways to hurt him. And one way is his sister. So one night you tell him not everything, never everything, but enough. Enough for him to understand. That this house is not kind, that status is not safety, that women disappear quietly. He listens. He believes you. And slowly, carefully, he begins laying foundations, petitions, alliances, legal protections. Not loudly, not yet. Because survival, you've learned, is never dramatic. It's patient. Years pass and the master, old now, dies in his sleep. No drama, no warning, just a still body in a household that instantly becomes a battlefield. Servants wail on cue, priests chant. But behind closed doors, the knives come out. Laughter. Because property, music, must be accounted for. Land, gold, titles, and people. You and your daughter are listed, not by name, by category. Laughter, the mistress, old now, pushes first. She claims household continuity. Her and her sons look polite and smiling, already calculating what you're worth in alliances, trades, or favor. Laughter, normally, this is where your son would bleed political capital, offer concessions, lose something precious to buy you back. Laughter, they assume he'll bargain. They don't know he already won. Years ago, quietly, your son convinced his father to gift you and your daughter to him as coming-of-age property. A legal transfer stamped, filed, buried in papyrus. No one bothered to question. So, when the scramble peaks, your son produces the document. The room goes silent. They realize you are no longer assets. You are not negotiable. You are his. And then freed. Not just out of kindness, but also by law. You leave the estate and go to live in a small house your son provides. Your daughter lives with you. Not as property, not as a servant, just laughter, as a woman. Sometimes your son visits. He brings food, jewelries, small unnecessary gifts. Laughter, proof that survival has turned into something gentler. Proof that you are free. Scarred? Yes. Hollow, yes, but free. Sometimes at dusk you think of Kush, of dust-stained feet, of laughter, of siblings whose faces have blurred with time. Did anyone survive? Did Egypt take more girls, music, after you? You will never know. You wonder if this life was worth the cost. If your son's position at the end balances decades of being owned, there is no answer. Only this. Your daughter will never kneel.